My name is Gwen Marcus, and I'm the chair of the Board of Trustees of TDF, and I am delighted to welcome you to actually one of my favorite TDF events of the year, the Wendy Wasserstein Project Celebration. It is a wonderful, joyous coming together of our end of the year program. And this year, I am happy to report we were 100% live and in person. Both for our many theater outings and also our after-theater discussions with the all-important pizza. Of course, pizza is crucial to in-depth conversation, and for this, we want to thank our generous sponsor who did so generously feed us. That would be Pizzeria Perfect Pizza. And so a big thank you to them and actually all of our sponsors. Thank you, and thank you all for coming. And now I'm going to turn it over to Tori Bailey, our executive director. Tori?
It's not very many board chairs who get to thank pizza folks as sponsors. So it's very special here at TDF. Welcome, everybody. I'm delighted to see you all. I can't help but think, I was chatting with someone, I think Peter Friedman before. I remember the first time we did this celebration, and it was, I think, 2002, and it was an idea that Wendy and I had about putting a kind of capstone on the year, and I think we did it at the rehearsal studios at the Duke on 42nd Street, so look how far we've come. So Wendy is here, she is with us, you are all here, and let's have a great celebration today. It is now my pleasure to introduce a Broadway star, a performer who performed Persephone in Hadestown, who has performed in Chicago, Lana Gordon, who is here to remind us just a little bit what live theater is all about. Thank you very much and have a wonderful hour.
About you boys, if you're like me, then hanging around this old manhole is bringing you down. 6 feet under, getting under your skin, and the fever is just setting in. Straight crazy, stuck in a rot. You use a little pick me up. I can give you what it is you crave. There's something from the good old days. I got the wind right here in the jar. I got the rain on tap at the bar. I got sunshine up on the shelf. I need to introduce myself. Brother, what's my name? My name is Brother, what's my name? Brother, what's my name? My name is. Wanna know my name? I tell you my name. Persephone. Let me guess. It's the little things you miss. Spring flowers, autumn leaves. Ask me, brother, and you shall receive. Or maybe these just ain't enough. Maybe you're looking for some stronger stuff. I got the sight for the source eye. When was the last time you saw the sky? Wipe away your tears, brother. Brother, I know how. I can see you blinded by the sadness of it all. in my pay-per-view. I'm also being in emotion, ain't no sin. Tell my husband to take his time. Well, the boss don't know, the boss won't mind.
That is a hard act to follow.
Truly.
Hello, everybody. I'm Ginger Meagher. I'm the Director of Education.
I'm Tyler Riley, a Wendy rep and our Digital and Dance Programs Manager.
And I don't know if you noticed, but Tyler can wear a suit. So Tyler and I have the very distinct honor of honoring the teachers, the mentors, and the students who are the very heart and soul of the Wendy Project. And we're going to do that beginning with a very somber note. Our very dear friend and colleague, Al Albergaria, passed away in May. Al had been a partnering Wendy teacher for 14 years with David Zippel and was an incredible advocate and theater teacher for the Young Women's Leadership School. We thought we would ask you to join us in a few moments of silence, but then it occurred to us that as an avid and amazing theater goer, we need to give Al a big round of applause.
And now our first school, All Hallows High School, teacher Paul Fontana and mentor Scott Ellis.
The Baccalaureate School for Global Education with Lenore Hinson and Joe DiPietro.
Bronx Health Sciences High School, teacher Erica Vargas Cartucci, mentor Kathleen Marshall.
The Brooklyn High School of the Arts with their teacher Justin Gray and their mentor Dominic Colon.
Cicely Tyson Community High School for the Fine and Performing Arts, teacher Michelle Ray Dudley, mentors Rachel Chanoff and Keith Randolph Smith.
The Community School for Social Justice with their teacher Amos Margalis and their mentor Alex Dinalaris.
Edward R. Murrow High School, teacher John Jones, mentor Derek McLean.
My Wendy group, the Fannie Lou Hamer Freedom High School with their teacher Aaron Bruto and their mentor Peter Friedman.
One of my Wendy groups, Flushing International High School, teacher Pop Singson, mentors Serena Wong and Leo Sandoval.
Frank Sinatra High School with their teacher Jamie Cacciola Price and their mentor who won a Tony last night, Natasha Katz.
Gaynor McCown Expeditionary Learning School, teacher Diana Gonzalez and mentors Mindy Dickstein and Eric Aloha.
Kappa International with Ann Beggs and Don Chang.
Millennium High School, teacher Maria Stasevage, mentor Bobby Longbottom.
Pan Am International High School with their teacher Elio Sepulveda Andres and their mentors Sergio Trujillo and Luis Salgado.
Renaissance High School, teacher Talia Jaime, mentor Mark Aceto.
The Repertory Company High School with their teacher Erica Bance and their mentor Ira Mont.
Robert F. Kennedy Community School, teacher Josh Cohen, mentor Mark Brokaw.
The Science Skills High School with their teacher and Wendy alum, Kwesi Valentine, and their mentor, Dick Scanlon.
My other Wendy group, Talent Unlimited High School. Teacher Christina Glover Peacock, mentor Aubrey Lynch.
Telecommunications High School with their teacher Adrian Musacchio and their mentor Kathleen Chalfont.
Urban Assembly for the Performing Arts, teacher Dale Smith, mentor Ann Hamburger.
William Cullen Bryant High School with their teacher Kelly Gillis and their mentors James Lapine and Stephen Karam.
And finally, the Young Women's Leadership School, teacher Ramona Fittipaldi and mentor David Zippel.
And we cannot forget our dear reps who keep the party going. That is Tyler and I and Lisa, but also our Bob Ellman, Claire Bauman, and Susan Willerman. And this year we were joined by a fantastic guest rep, John Franco Lentino.
To come see the theater. If there was a theater district, then it was our district, and every teenager deserved to come to it.
I think it speaks to Wendy's character about how genuine and humble she was, that there is this woman who's super famous and she is genuinely concerned or really wants to hear what we have to say.
We were totally not prepared for the depth of insight and critical thinking and passion that these 8th graders brought with them.
I've realized a few things. 1, I truly love New York City. 2, Broadway shows are amazing. And 3, pizza may be the greatest food in the world.
I felt a really deep sense of peace. I never thought I could really relate to theater. That it would be theater that helps me take off my mask and be my true self.
Through our open doors discussions, I've learned that it's okay to have those moments of silence. That just means you're thinking. It's okay to have those moments of tears. That just means you're feeling. It's okay to have those moments of guilt. That just means you're learning. I can honestly say theater saved my life.
I felt like, for the first time, someone besides my mother wanted to hear what I had to say.
I don't think that Wendy could have foreseen the impact that Open Doors was going to have in the lives of so many people. But where there is love, dedication, and a dream worth pursuing, amazing things happen.
Thank you for making theater come alive for me, and appreciate you for giving me a chance to have a voice
and to say I was one of the lucky ones to be a part of something special.
And today at 79, looking back, I remember my experience at Open Doors as the most rewarding in my entire life.
And I have to say, unequivocally, looking around this room, I think to myself, in all honesty, this is the best thing I've ever done.
Good evening. This is not what New York City sounds like. Can I really hear some sound from this room? There we go. There we go. All right. Hi, everyone. My name is Ronnie Mazumdar. I am a restaurateur here in New York City. And what am I doing here speaking to all of you if I sell food for a living? Well, because 23 years ago, I was right here in those seats where you're sitting, and I think in some shape or form, it changed my life. Too many of us believe that theater, in a linear fashion, end up impacting those who only want to do something in the art in a world, but not necessarily in other diverse industries. What I'm here to tell you is that this aspect, this moment right here, right now, can change any aspect of your life if you truly allow for it to happen. For me, I went to DeWitt Clinton High School. One little peep somewhere? Really? That's all we got? Wow. Okay, all right. Hello. Class of 2001, yes, that makes me 40 years old. I get it. My then English teacher, Mrs. Patricia Bruno, right? We all miss her. I know. She was incredible. She is, what a force. So all I remember telling us was that, there's this new theater program that's coming up, and there's free pizza. I'm like, all right, free Broadway shows, pizza, sign me up. The next thing I knew, I was sitting next to this lady named Wendy Wasserstein, analyzing plays and building this lifelong relationship with theater. Honest to God, I did not have the slightest clue of the immense impact she's had on our society or the impact she was about to have on my life. She was just so relatable. I mean, she was kind of like a friend, just a little older. She never, for a second, made me feel like I'm an ounce smaller than her in any shape or form, and even though I came from a very different part of society than her. Trust me when I say this, Wendy gave all of us a chance to be someone we might not have ever been. She valued the potential in each of us rather than going by past experiences, which none of us really had at the time. I moved from India to the Bronx in 1996, and I was completely unaware of the power of theater in our lives. I grew up believing that art was just luxury, and for middle-class immigrant families like us, it didn't really matter. There was no realistic value that it had. This idea of theater, Broadway, it all felt so out of reach for me, and I deeply believed somewhere that it all existed for the wealthy, where immigrants like me didn't really have a role to play. However, it was this Wendy Wasserstein Project that changed how I looked at the world, made decisions differently, and gained the confidence to interact with people in a whole new way. All this happened because I felt that it mattered what I had to say. It mattered who I was. It was her and then director Mariana Houston. Are you here, Mariana, somewhere? Yes? Come on, let's hear it from Mariana for a quick second. Let's hear it. I know. Still a dear friend, and of course, cheering us on as always. All of these people combined gave this boy from the Bronx, who was pushing a fruit cart with his father, to all of a sudden have this unique story of his own and actually be at the top of the food world. What felt to you and to me at that time was just, We're writing down our reactions after watching the play just on a piece of paper. In reality, we were transcribing and evaluating human emotions along with acknowledging our very own feelings. That little chance to see behind the scenes of a theater became a template of how a hospitality company interacted with its chefs and creative partners. What were simple interactions with friends over pizza became how we treat each other as members, as guests, with a sense of vulnerability. And before I knew it, all of those unexpectedly incredible experiences formed a very unique foundation of entrepreneurship within me. Most people evaluate business with a sense of profit and loss, but there's an entire aspect of empathy that successful businesses are driven by, and I learned that from the Wendy Wasserstein Project. I still remember, it was early on, that we were standing outside of a completely unknown restaurant in Long Island City with a chef that was completely a no-name chef. And he created a menu. I looked at it, and I thought it was never going to work. You know why? Because in my heart, I felt it was too ethnic, too real. It was too much for all of us to share and just bare our souls with. So I said, we shouldn't do this. This is terrible. Maybe because I was scared somewhere. And he says, no, this is the menu. We should do it. And that night, we walked back. We did not speak to each other. I stayed up thinking, why am I so against it? Maybe there's something about it. Maybe he's right. More than anything, I realized for the first time that a chef, just like an artist, is leaning into their creative powers and building something that we might not have seen before. Then why am I clipping his wings? And I remembered Wendy at that moment. I remembered this program, how she gave us a chance, how she took a chance on us. So I took a chance on him. Next thing I knew, it became one of the biggest successes of my entire career and became the first nationally awarded Indian restaurant in the country. I learned to look at food through the lens of self-expression and identity rather than another business transaction. These are values and lessons that were not usually taught in New York City public schools, that I think programs like these can instill within us. And I think these are the defining moments that we sometimes don't acknowledge because an after-school program, I'm there, it's another day. It's not another day. Every single one of these days are so valuable. As I look back 2 decades ago, it meant the world, the absolute world to me. For me, just like theater, going to many of these high-end restaurants were out of reach. But just by getting a chance to go to theaters, it liberated me in some shape or form to say, if I can belong there, maybe I can belong in this other industry as well. Growing up, going to Red Lobster was a big deal. Really, it was. I used to live in the Bronx, and we used to go to Co-op City, and there was a Red Lobster there. And I remember that, today here we are, we're talking about hospitality, restaurants. We run a group of restaurants that has a Michelin star all the way to a hole in the wall. Behind the scenes for all of that, behind the awards, the accolades, it's still that boy who was afraid of every single day in our company, we set up the theater. We turn on the lights and the curtains rise, but it just looks like a restaurant. Here, sorry about that. This was not planned. I call upon each of you to value each moment that you spend on this very program. Soak it all up and know that your story and who you are matters. Wendy, through her program, gave us all a chance. You never know, it just might be your secret sauce. Thank you.
Ronnie, now I'm craving Red Lobster cheddar biscuits. They are so good. The BX is in the house. My name is Dominic Colon. I'm a writer, an actor, and I'm proud to say that I've been part of the TDF family since 2008. Yeah, that deserves applause, yeah. In 2008, I was hired as a teaching artist for the education program. However, I wasn't able to do any workshops because immediately after, I got cast in the reboot of the children's television show, The Electric Company. Yeah, I played Manny. If you're good, I'll do the laugh later. Yeah, and I promise you this is going somewhere. In 2013, when I was unemployed, which as an actor, sometimes it bees like that, TDF welcomed me back with open arms. And I had the privilege of collaborating with some phenomenal classroom teachers. One of which was mentioned earlier, Al Albagaria. Al passed away earlier this year, and he was the first person who ever mentioned the Wendy Wasserstein Project. And he was like, you'd be an amazing mentor. And I told Al, I was like, Al, I'm not famous enough for that yet. But he said still, you know, he loved me and he thought what I was doing was, and I told him what I was doing at Stage Doors was enough. I love the experience of taking young people and teaching about theater because it only enhances the experience. And anyone, my people over here, who knows, if you've ever seen SpongeBob SquarePants the musical in a crowd of 1,200 people, you know that that only makes it better. So this year, after stepping away from teaching artists to work in television for the past 3 years as a writer, I was asked to come back and be a mentor for the Wendy Wasserstein Project. And my first thought was, wow, I'm finally famous enough to be a mentor. And my second thought was right after our first outing with my mentees from Brooklyn School of the Arts, who unfortunately couldn't be here tonight because it's prom. Yeah, I know. We saw Into the Woods. And I remember thinking, wow, Al was right. This program is so special. The intimacy of it only intensifies the impact that we have on young people. You know, like parents, educators, we aren't supposed to have favorites, but we do. Yeah, your parents are lying. And my favorite, and I feel totally free to say this because they're not here, was a young person named Kiara, who on our first outing was going through some drama with family and college, and then we get to the theater and there was drama there. She ended up getting seated behind this big, like, tall man, and she ended up getting moved and sat right beside me. And we spoke about, you know, going to school out of state versus going to school in state. You know, I was talking about my experience at NYU, both the positive and the negative, and she was super stressed out about what to do, and she was pretty much on the verge of a panic attack, and I'm like, girl, I just met you 10 minutes ago. Slow it down. But in my heart, that was my head. In my heart, you know, much like the characters in Into the Woods, I told her, you know, there's no real positive or negative. We get to decide how we view the process of the journey. In her journal entry, which I read later on, she said, getting to know Dominic made up for the drama before the show. We got to bond over the fact that we're both Puerto Rican. Puerto Rico's in the house. He was in The Electric Company, one of my favorite childhood shows, and he was just a good guy that I easily vibe with. You know, vibes are a huge part of the Wendy Wasserstein Project, and we had great ones. We became a theater-loving family. We got to have some unique experiences together, whether it was being able to watch playwright Michael R. Jackson perform the role of Usher in A Strange Loop, or bonding over the mutual hate we had over a play that shall remain nameless, or arguing over which musical arrangement was our favorite in & Juliet. What was the most special about this experience for me was the journey. We got to experience the journey of each character in whatever show we were watching and see how that journey was mirrored in our own lives. The last show that we saw together was & Juliet. And by chance, Kiara sat right next to me, and she was still going through drama. This is an excerpt from her journal. I'm currently going through a breakup, so I totally understood Juliet's character and resonated with her relationship with Romeo. The overlapping songs, One Less Problem and I Can't Feel My Face, that they sang over each other was one of my favorites because it showed exactly what I was going through. The musical reminded me that heartbreak is not the end of the world, and that I have the strength to move on and find my own happiness. Kiara will also be studying at NYU next year for free. Yeah, let's give it up. And I know that her and the rest of her classmates, theater will forever be with them on their journey, thanks to the Wendy Wasserstein Project. Seeing how what is on stage can be reflected in their own lives and in the lives of those that they care about will keep that theater flame ignited forever. And I'm grateful that I got a chance to be a mentor and bear witness to their journey. I'm grateful for everyone who makes this program possible. I'm grateful to Al, whose spirit reminds me that none of us need to be in a classroom to teach. The world is our classroom. The theater is our classroom. So thank you to TDF for making sure that even though it may seem like this part of the journey is done, thanks to theater, we will forever be united, growing, learning with each other, and every step that we take out of these woods and into the world. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. I'm Lisa Hershey, Associate Director of Education and the Wendy Project Supervisor. Congratulations, TDF Wendy Project students. You are now alumni. You are now part of nearly 100,000 theater lovers who are members of TDF and the membership program. Every day, TDF memberships get special access to deeply discounted tickets online in advance for hundreds of Broadway, off-Broadway, off-Broadway, dance, and music performances. At 6 p.m. sharp, you will receive an email with details on how to activate your own TDF membership, which we are giving to you for free for the next 4 years. Now, it comes with a caveat. You do need to use it, or you unfortunately lose it. And we will be giving you $100 of credit so you can go to the theater on your own. And we will reload that every year for 4 years as long as you use it. And I also want to tell you about a new program. It's called the Alumni Corps. It's a group of Wendy students who are alumni who opt into an outing or two in the years after they graduate. We have some awesome Alumni Corps leaders, Mark Stein and Charles Alvarez, and I believe they're here today. Are you guys here? Wave. Okay, I'll wave for them. And you can choose to join when I send you an email next year. And now, a helpful little monster will explain membership.
What is membership, you ask? TDF membership is advanced access to deeply discounted tickets to Broadway, off-Broadway, off-Broadway, dance, concerts, and live performance. More than 300 choices daily in the greater NYC area. How does membership work? You receive a welcome note in your inbox. Your login will be your email, and you'll receive a temporary password which you can reset. In that same email will be your TDF credit code. You can go to the list of shows and use filters to select by category, genre, just browse, or search for a specific show. Once you find the show you want, select the date and time and purchase a ticket, or up to 9 tickets. Follow the prompts to check out. And this is where you will need to enter your TDF credit code, which you will do in the Apply Gift Certificate field. After that, you will receive confirmation via email. Where can you use membership? You can access TDF.org on your desktop, phone, or your tablet. When can I buy tickets for membership? Most selections are available 2 to 3 weeks in advance and up to the day of the show. The seat locations are the best available on that day. You'll pick up your tickets at the box office on the day of the show with your picture ID. Why membership? Theater is for everyone, and TDF is here to get you to the theater. Membership makes tickets more affordable. We've got you started with a $100 credit. Money is waiting for you. Visit TDF.org today. We're saving you a seat.
Good evening, scholars, teachers, mentors, and TDF representatives. My name is Dale Smith, and I am the theater teacher at Urban Assembly School for the Performing Arts in Harlem. I got my squad with me. I'd like to take a few minutes to talk to you about what I love. I love a lot of things, actually, but for the sake of brevity, I will try to keep it relevant. I love my job. I have the honor of teaching my students for all 4 years that they are in high school, and I love watching them evolve into the adults that they will become. I love sharing my passion for theater with them and watching them become competent artists. And of course, there are times that we grow frustrated with one another, but we push, we continue, and we each learn something from one another. Few people can say that about their work, and I'm proud that I can. I also love theater deeply. It's kind of weird that I have such an affinity for an art form that I knew so little about when I was young. I grew up in a small town in northern Texas that could hardly be described as a cultural hotbed. It was a town that was entertained by football games and rodeos. There was a community theater that staged some dusty old plays that were never intended to make anyone think. But for the most part, theater was always something that happened somewhere else. It was created by other people, for other people. It was inaccessible, unattainable. And that's probably why I wanted so desperately to be part of it. Because even without access, I knew that there was something magical about sitting in a dark room with a bunch of strangers and sharing an experience that would only ever happen right now. It's literally in front of us. It's urgent. It's special. I love my students. I promise you that 3 of them just rolled their eyes right now, but I love them anyway. They are smart. They are outspoken. They are resourceful and insightful and resilient, but despite all of those admirable attributes and the advantage of their relative proximity to Broadway, many of them also perceive the world of theater as inaccessible. It's something that happens over there. And that is why I love the Wendy Wasserstein Project. It bridges that gap, and it really is my favorite part of my job. Wendy famously said that Broadway is the right of all New Yorkers, and I love that she created a program that allowed that insight to become action. I'm always excited for the next outing with my group because not only do I get to experience amazing theater for myself, but I get to experience it through their eyes. We get to examine and discuss and dissect what is being said to us. We get to celebrate it, argue with it, and rip it apart at the seams and see what's inside. We get to explore what theater was, what it is, and what it can be. We get to see what is available to us in the vibrant world of smoke and mirrors, and we get to discover how we can, in fact, all be part of it. It's not over there. It's in our backyard. This experience creates a bond that goes beyond the classroom, whether I'm dragging them a few blocks out of the way to explore the drama bookshop or learn about the TKTS booth, or just chatting with them about their reactions as we make our way to the post-show discussion. We get to know one another as people without the artifice of desks and smartboards. I love our TDF rep, Claire, because she is just the best. If you have another rep, I'm sure they're also awesome. I love Bernadette Peters, far more than I should probably, but that's a story for another day. And finally, I love my partner in crime, our exceptional mentor, Annie Hamburger. We have been together through 7 groups of Wendy scholars, 4 Wendy reps, and a global pandemic, and we always enjoy the opportunity to combine forces and get a conversation going. She brings a wealth of knowledge, mountains of experience, and a charismatic jubilance to the program. And she never fails to make it clear that all of us belong at that table and in that theater. It is our right as New Yorkers. I hope that each of you will continue to seize this opportunity to exercise that right, experience moments of wonder, gasp at unforeseen twists, and discover where you belong in this magical world. It's right there for everyone to explore. And I love that for all of us. Thank you.
Good afternoon. It's my pleasure to introduce my student from Fannie Lou Hamer Freedom High School, Keisha Lewis Moreno. Keisha is exactly the kind of student you want in your classroom. She connects and she questions and she lifts other students up. When she makes connections, when she asks questions, she opens the doors for other students to join the conversation. And when students do that for one another, they make each other more powerful. And it is my sincere belief that the world is a better place when our students are more powerful. And Keisha does that for herself and for others. So please, a round of applause for Keisha.
Good evening. My name is Keisha Lewis. I'm 17 years old, and I was born in the Dominican Republic, but raised in New York City. I am a junior and currently attend Fannie Lou Hamer Freedom High School. I live with my parents and younger sister in the South Bronx, where I lived the majority of my life. I moved to the US where I was only 6 years old. My parents enrolled me in a public elementary school and since then have encouraged me to explore new possibilities. Coming from the Caribbean, which had few opportunities for kids, my parents wanted me to take advantage of life in the States. They encouraged me to be ambitious and proud of where I come from and to never underestimate myself. The Wendy Project was one of those opportunities I decided to challenge myself with. I've never been to a Broadway show before, so the project caught my eye. I also was encouraged to apply to the program because of the close relationship I had with my advisor, Mr. Bruto. Since 10th grade, I have respected and valued his opinions. When he explained how wonderful this opportunity would be, I realized this could feed my curiosity of the world and what it has to offer. I was sold. I wanted to push my limits as a writer, student, and explorer. Broadway has always been something I wanted to experience, but I didn't have the resource to do so. Coming from the South Bronx, you don't really have the means or access to things like Broadway. Throughout the year, I've been able to attend many shows from various genres, from musicals like Hamilton and Hadestown to play like Top Dog, Underdog. The one that impacted me the most was Hamilton. I saw a reflection of myself in Angelica Schuyler. As an older sister myself, I have the sense of duty to perform. It was eye-opening to see the burden of being an older sister portrayed on stage. It demonstrated how older sisters don't mind getting the bare scraps of a deal and how satisfied we have to be when it comes to our younger siblings, no matter how insignificant. Angelica's feelings and my feelings were one because she dwelled on the sacrifices she made for her sisters and her family. For example, as an older sister myself to my own younger sister, I've always held the responsibility of being a good role model. That meant even forgetting to just be a kid myself and enjoy my childhood. Similar to Angelica, we both want the best for our younger siblings, even at our own expense. In our group, Peter Friedman, my mentor, served as our balance. He reminded me, oddly enough, of my history teacher, Mr. Bruto, and I soon found out they shared a similar viewpoint, listening to us, the youth. Peter gave us the biggest gift, which was the space to allow us to express ourselves freely. Broadway shows were an untamed place for all of us, and he allowed us to form our own perspectives and opinions on shows. That made the biggest difference to me. He made us feel comfortable enough to share our opinions, whether we were shy or outgoing or whether we agree with each other or not. I kindly appreciate that. My Wendy Project group are kids with many brilliant ideas ranging from things like a show lacked emotion or a plot was disorganized, or a show vividly depicting the struggles of immigration, gender, or relationships. Mainly, we connected to shows to ourselves and our personal experiences. For example, we discussed family dynamic between the younger and older generation in Fat Ham and how it translated to our own family dynamic of being Black and brown kids. I also enjoyed how we interpreted things. Although we all saw the same shows, we viewed them completely different. Sometimes we noticed things that others had missed. For example, I remember when we watched Hamilton, the relationship between Hamilton and Angelica was viewed in multiple ways. Someone mentioned that the relationship seemed platonic, like of best friends. Others said it was romantic. This disagreement allowed us to learn from each other and develop more complex viewpoints. What I remember most about the Wendy Project was the opportunity to experience something I never experienced before. Broadway is seen as something for rich people, for rich white people. Theater isn't accessible to Black and brown kids from the Bronx. TDF proved that this was invalid and that kids like me could enjoy theater and the arts. When I sat in that seat after seeing Hamilton, that's when it dawned on me. Broadway was right at my fingertips. Hamilton, with its cast of color, made us feel seen and noticed. Theater, as Wendy Wasserstein said, it's a New Yorker's birthright, even for a kid from the Bronx. When I look at the Bronx history, it's filled with artists making a place for themselves in marginalized groups. This program paves the way for kids who look like me to see Broadway shows and theater productions and to see that Broadway is not impossible. As I head into the future, I remember the place that the Wendy Project allowed me to reach. I want to continue to have the opportunity to go into theaters and truly feel that I belong. I appreciate how TDF allowed me to take charge of my experience and defy stereotypes by embracing the theater. I want to attend other Broadway shows in the future, musicals and plays and all kinds of shows. I want to walk into a Broadway show not feeling strange, but confident and self-assured. As I apply to colleges and continue onwards in life, I'll remember the connections made through TDF. I want to thank Peter, Ginger, and Aaron for making this journey one filled with laughter, deep conversations, reflections, and for just giving us a chance. I'd like to thank everyone for being a part of this program, especially my group members. To Wendy Wasserstein, I'd like to say a simple thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Erica Vargas Catucci. Hi, y'all. And I began my journey with TDF back in 1998 when Wendy Wasserstein selected 8 students from my school to bring her vision to life. Back then, the program was called Open Doors, and it certainly opened many doors for me as it's opening for my own students. It's been 25 years since I saw my first Broadway show and attended my first celebration, and I stand before you now as an educator with the Wendy Project. Since 2020, I've had the privilege of taking my own students to experience the joy of theater the way I did. It is my honor to introduce to you one of my own students. America is a vivacious young woman who embodies the spirit of Wendy's vision. I've never had a student take such a keen interest in theater and take copious notes during intermission. Yes. But it is precisely this passion that the Wendy Project has the power to cultivate. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome from Bronx Health Sciences High School, Miss America Morrobel.
Hello, everyone. My name is America Morrobel. I am a senior at Bronx Health Sciences High School. I'm currently 17 years old, turning 18 in August. I was born and raised in the Bronx. My parents are immigrants. My mother is Honduran and my father is Dominican. They raised me, my younger brother, and my older sister together in a little small home in the Bronx, but mainly in Co-op City. Throughout my life, my parents encouraged me to focus on school and get good grades. I did well academically, but realized I wanted to explore the arts. So I joined the art club at school and signed up for a theater class. It was in this theater class that I learned about the Wendy Wasserstein Project. I had never been to theater before, and I was dying to experience it. I never really paid attention to Broadway. To me, Broadway was exclusively for rich people, and I didn't think it was meant for me. The only experience I had with theater was when I read Julius Caesar in 9th grade English class with my teacher, Erica Vargas, who coincidentally runs the Wendy Project in our school. As my eyes skimmed through the play, my interest was piqued. It made me hungry for more plays. So the Wendy Wasserstein Project sounded like a great opportunity to be part of something special. Ms. Vargas told me that I would really love it and encouraged me to apply. And I did. And now I'm a theater kid. And I would apply all over again if I could. There is so much to say about Ms. Vargas. She is a ray of sunshine. She helped me learn to love my school and introduced me to theater. She is always so welcoming, encouraging, and cares about her students. She even took time away from her lunch period to help me write and edit my college essay. I will be attending Villanova University in the fall, and I owe a lot to her. I cherish Ms. Vargas, even though she might not realize it. Ms. Vargas is the reason why I'm here today. One word that describes my Wendy Wasserstein experience is breathtaking. That's the word I kept in my mind while heading to the theater to see plays and musicals. I loved the scenery, the actors, the costumes. It was all breathtaking to me. Each show left me with a different perspective about myself and gave me a newfound love for theater. I was constantly in awe. 2 of the shows we attended made a big impact on my life. I found myself relating a lot to the life of Pi. The issues Pi faced throughout the show gave me an immense amount of insight into myself. I felt like Pi's determination to survive resonated deeply within me. When I am put to the test, I am determined to be as resilient as Pi. Much like Pi, I rely on my family as a support system. My siblings are my best friends and are the #1 people I would go to if I were in a crisis. I was astonished at how a play could have such a meaningful message. I realized there was more to a show than just entertainment. There is a message in every show. The Wendy Project helped me dig deeper and further my path of self-awareness. I also related to Anne Juliet. I connected to the character of Juliet a lot. At first, she believed she couldn't live life without a man and needed a Romeo to save her. As the musical progressed, she went on a journey of self-love and found strength in her own determination. She went on to rewrite the story of her life, which was empowering and beautiful. It strengthened the strong desire I have towards women's empowerment, because just like her, I have also been on the track to find strength within myself little by little. For example, I've been learning to put myself out there more and be more social. Juliet inspired me and allowed me to be confident in myself. My mentor was Kathleen Marshall, an amazing director and choreographer who has worked on many famous Broadway shows. Having her as my mentor felt like an honor, since she would praise our group for being unique and special to the program. I loved how open she was about her knowledge of choreography, directing, and the world of theater. I also loved that when I asked questions about theater, she would give me detailed answers, or she would ask me a question about a note I took. She made me feel seen and heard. Most importantly, the discussions made me love the program even more. When I began the program, I was very quiet and to myself. By the end, I became more social and became friends with my own group members. My group was open-minded and loved theater as much as I did. They were supportive of everyone's point of view. One specific memory I have was during the piano lesson. I wrote down pages of notes to bring up in our discussion. My group loved that I took notes, and some of them even started taking notes later on. My group support gave me comfort and confidence. It was empowering to hear that my opinion mattered. I will forever be grateful to the program itself for allowing me to find a piece in myself that I never knew. To be into theater was the last thing I expected. This program allowed me to get out of my comfort zone and to nerd out on one of the main things I now love. The Wendy Project changed how I feel about theater. Now I am all in and the first one to hand in a permission slip for a trip to a show. I love checking out the latest Broadway news online or on social media. I love researching plots of shows beforehand or stalking actors' Instagrams and promotional posts. The Wendy Project made me passionate about the theater world. I will never let go of theater and always hope to find myself waiting in queue for another show with my Wendy Wasserstein membership and a pen and notebook in my hand. Thank you, Ms. Vargas, Kathleen, Claire, Lisa, and my group for this journey. And thank you to the Wendy Wasserstein Project for changing my life.
Congratulations to this year's Wendy class.
Happy graduation. Enjoy the life project.
Congrats to the students for finishing the program. Yes! Off to the next. Move on. Listen to Stephen Sondheim's Move On. It will bless your life. Move on.
Hey everybody, going through this wonderful program. Congratulations on your graduation. I hope you had a fantastic time in this program and keep the theater going. Yay.
Hey students, congratulations on your graduation. This is the commencement and the beginning of a new chapter of your life, and anything's possible. You just gotta free yourself to see yourself. Honey, that's the gospel according to Jay.
I would like to invite the TDF reps and the education department to join us. This is the time of the program where Tori and I wrap up and thank you, and we're going to do that, but there's something you don't know about. I didn't tell Tori about this because I felt confident she would say, no, Ginger, this should be about the students and the mentors and the teachers and not about me.
That's exactly what I would have said. And I would have meant it.
But it doesn't happen without you, Tori. What some of you may not know is that Tori will be leaving TDF at the end of this month after 22 years as our executive director. And she has led us through a lot. Terrorist attacks, blackouts, strikes, pandemics, shutdowns, and she has prioritized this programming. It would be very easy to say this is expensive and we're not going to do it. But she knows its value, and she values the sentimentality, the empathy, and the humanity that develops from it. So we will thank the students and teachers and mentors, but we have to acknowledge the impact that Tori has had. And how do you do that for a woman that just got her own Tony Honor and a Lifetime Achievement Award from the Lucille Lortel Foundation? What do you do? Well, we thought about that, and we decided to create something that was appropriate for this program. So, Tori Bailey, we are proud to present to you the first ever Golden Slice Award. This is awarded with love. For advocacy, support, grit, and changing lives, one matinee at a time.
Okay, it isn't about me. It is about all of you. But I will say it's been very nice as I finish up. There have been a few honors along the way, but this is what it's really all about. So go to the theater, go often, go when you're happy, go when you're not sure, go when you need lifting up. Just go to the theater. It will stick with you for a very, very, very long time. And go out there and live. I say to myself a lot these days, change is good. And now, really, this is about you. Like, come back and finish. Thank you to all of you. Congratulations. Have a great summer. What else are we supposed to say?
Get your picture taken if you haven't.
If you haven't had your picture taken, get your picture taken. Anything else?
Bravo.
Bravo, and thank you to you guys. This is uncultured, but this is fabulous.
Have a great night, y'all. We'll see you at the theater.